It's war, and it's a huge war going on right now. First things first, devote just 1% of your time to studying Bitcoin. Your life will be transformed as you go on. Scott, I've been following your progress through this, and it seems like you're learning more and more and more about Bitcoin. This is a safe, decentralized system that is limited by energy, and I remember it from 3 years ago. What politicians wish to do to it is of no concern to it. According to technical analysis, this situation usually indicates that the present slump might be slowing down or perhaps reversing, which might mean that Bitcoin might soon have a rebound once market sentiment turns optimistic again. Two more traditional technical indicators back up this scenario of a bullish reversal. A bullish hammer candlestick pattern was first established by Bitcoin on July 5th. This pattern is identified by a small body at the upper half of the daily candle with a lengthy lower shadow and little upper shadow. In May, we saw the same thing. The relative strength index RSI for Bitcoin on a daily basis is approaching the oversold level of 30, which is typically seen before a period of consolidation or rebound. According to analyst Jacob Canfield, this sign can mean that Bitcoin is about to make a comeback, and the price could go back up to its previous range high of more over $1.70,000. Increasing interest rate expectations for September provide Bitcoin a further boost as it prepares to restart its bull run in the coming weeks. Based on data provided by CME, Wall Street traders had a 72% chance of the U.S. Federal Reserve lowering interest rates by 25 basis points as of July 7th. The same happened 4.6% to 6.6% of the time a month ago. The Federal Reserve often mulls over lowering interest rates to spur economic activity when the job market shows signs of weakness. Bitcoin and other risky assets benefit from lower interest rates since they outperform more conventionally secure investments such as U.S. dollars, debt instruments less appealing. If a credit-based system were to fail, deflation would inevitably follow. People are confusing it at that point. Bitcoin is where it's at. It's occurring, not whether it might. With a 4-year time horizon, you may observe its progression at any point in time. This bias is merely a measurement one. Bitcoin adopters are, in a sense, already citizens of the future. And because it is a free market, prices are going down for them. Therefore, there has been no change. The current system is becoming worse by concentrating power, stealing more, and becoming more entrenched. Plus, that's all it takes. Cryptocurrency Bitcoin operates on an energy-bound, permissionless, open, decentralized protocol. You can also live in the future if you just shift your time to match it. Now it's a piece of cake. Managing Bitcoin is a nightmare. Before I wrote Finding Signal in a Noisy World, we had a conversation about how everyone was talking about altcoins and how Bitcoin is just a protocol in this day and age. And when you consider that it's more of a protocol than a technology, that it's limited by energy, and that it becomes increasingly decentralized and secure with each passing year, you'll see that it's the bedrock upon which everything else is constructed. Additionally, you no longer need to be concerned about the disruption caused by the current system undergoing this change. If you could sneak a little bit of people's money out of the free market over time without them noticing, you could do it throughout history. Either banking, consolidation, or inflation? I assume so. It used to be that I couldn't make enough money in banking if I had the gold fixed 1-to-1. A 2-to-1 or 1-to-2 ratio would suit me. Plus, my gold supply is steadily decreasing, even though that's where I could generate the most profit. The market consolidates around the provider of the highest return because people trust those providers. Moreover, my gold is nowhere to be found when I need it. Either the bank collapses or the government steps in and threatens to force everyone to hold their breath. So how did you manage to amass enough wealth to be financially independent? It was everyone's fault. It was raised by every taxpayer. For that reason, this becomes more stable. You can build a lot of power and wealth through co-opting, therefore it stands to reason that anything that becomes too centralized will eventually be taken over. Economic liberty. No one would even notice. Inflation would be around 2% for them. Every year, a number of things go missing from my house, and I never even notice. It must compound and worsen over time. And no one would ever know. They would be raised inside that framework. Seeing their friend, they might wonder, how does one become wealthy using that system I have? Or more wealth. Observing their buddies do it would engage them. Similar actions would be taken by them. There would be a snowball effect of all these incentives making things worse. We know this from experience throughout history. Oh, and when it breaks, you have to split your community and make an enemy from within. You have to make an adversary outside your boundaries if you want to solve problems in modern politics. In addition, a high inflation rate can only be achieved by mobilizing your people to engage in military conflict. After a victory in a battle, the old currency is replaced with the new one, and the pledge is made not to repeat the same mistakes. After that, it all begins anew. Since we are aware that we will cheat, our entire history could be viewed from that perspective. The fact that the claim can't be cheated settles it moving ahead. Additionally, that is related to self-custody. Even while we know that the institution, I believe I mentioned this on your show earlier, is regulating a system that is meant to take our money, we are so accustomed to trusting that system. While a system is in place to steal from us, we have regulations in place to safeguard our funds. On top of that, we think it's secure. That's insane. Looking at Bitcoin's self-custody through that perspective would make it seem challenging because it requires trusting oneself. Putting your faith in yourself and putting in the effort to be sure is more important than relying on the institution. Everyone, including you and your loved ones, is completely safe. The uniqueness of the task and the process becomes apparent when you put in the time and effort required to complete it. Plus, you find that you're devoting more and more of your efforts to it. It's war, and it's a huge war going on right now. Dedicate just 1% of your time to studying Bitcoin at first. Your life will be transformed as you go on. Like I followed your path, even you, Scott. As you progress through it, you're gaining a better grasp of Bitcoin. Inflation cannot occur in a credit-based system, and the credit-based system cannot collapse this. I recall from 4 years ago is a decentralized and secure protocol bound. People are confusing it at that point. If something is happening in Bitcoin, it is happening now, not maybe. It has been going on for at least 4 years, and any period of time since then will reveal the same thing. This bias is merely a measurement one, Bitcoin. Adopters are, in a sense, already citizens of the future. There is a free market where they live. The market value is decreasing. Therefore, there has been no change. There is a further consolidation of the current system. It's leading to a concentration of power. More theft is occurring. Nothing is improving. The only thing you need to do is have energy. Bitcoin is a decentralized system that is open, permissionless, and bounded by energy. Changing your clock to match it will also put you in the future. Now it's a piece of cake. Managing Bitcoin is a nightmare. Everyone was babbling about altcoins and layer 2s today, and it was obvious that they didn't grasp that Bitcoin is a protocol. We discussed this before I wrote Finding Signal in a Noisy World. Plus, it becomes more decentralized and secure annually if you grasp that it's a protocol rather than a technology, and that it's limited by energy. It becomes clear that it is the base upon which everything else is constructed. Additionally, you no longer have to be concerned about the current system's constant chatter as you undergo this change.